back to the Little Life podcast. This is episode 38.
We have Brynn on today.
We have Brynn on today.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you, Sora.
Make sure the cats don't get on there.
Welcome back, guys. This is episode 38. Sora's better at the intro than me, but I'm still going to do it. I have Brynn on today, an amazing guest. We're going to talk about addiction, overcoming addiction, eating disorders, and what that looks like for her today. And also maybe A Course in Miracles if she wants to.
Yeah, always.
Welcome, Brynn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you besides not being able to stand up for the last 5 days?
No, I'm great. I'm great because I couldn't stand up for the last week. I had vertigo really bad. It just came out of nowhere. I've never had anything like that before. And anyway, they just have you do a weird flippy thing and just rock the crystals in my head. And
That's crazy.
yeah, I'm back to normal, so I'm great now.
Cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're feeling better. What is your clean date?
November 18th, 2016.
Nah, damn, dude.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
coming up on 9 years.
Mine is October 2nd, 2018.
That's
So I'm
coming
coming
up
up on 7.
Nice.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude, time flies.
What was your DOC?
Alcohol.
Alcohol?
For sure, yeah. I definitely I loved stimulants too, but alcohol was my man jam for sure.
Dude, and alcohol sucks because it's legal, you know?
Yeah.
And it's everywhere.
Yeah.
When I went on the cruise, when me and Kiana went on that cruise with the people from my work, dude, I wanted to drink so bad. I haven't wanted to drink that bad the whole time, but I was I'm in Mexico. Nobody will know.
Yeah.
Besides my boss.
I feel I feel really fortunate. I feel alcohol, being a true alcoholic and that being my DOC, I know when I see other people having a good time and drinking, I don't really, I feel fortunate because I'm I know that's just not who I am when I'm drinking. I know, I think of the crying victim, just not having a good time and it's everybody else's problem. That is who I am. But I also feel there's a lot of drug addicts, people who are identify more as drug addicts, and the thought of alcohol, it feels, or it seems, culture makes you feel it's a lesser evil.
Yeah.
And it's
It's safer.
yeah.
I've tried that route 100 times and I always end up doing drugs. So.
Yeah.
Did you end up drinking alone more often, or was it always around people?
No, I was just a drinker. I was just drunk all the time. So I, my last year of drinking, I wouldn't even, the alcohol would be next to the bed. So I would have probably rolled over a few times in the middle of the night to take a few swigs.
Of what?
Wine. Wine at home. But I was also a liquor drinker, dark alcohol, any dark alcohol.
Jaeger?
I stand corrected because I hate Jaeger, but I definitely tried. I definitely drank plenty of it,
Yeah.
but rum and whiskey and that kind of stuff. But I would always have one of those I don't even know, huge bags of wine, and that was my emotional support bag of wine. It stayed next to my bed. It came with me to work.
Where were you working?
I was working at a call center. So this is back in Pennsylvania. That's where I lived up until I got sober. And this was at a call center. I was helping people with their mortgages, just customer service stuff. God bless those people. I have no idea what I did. I have no idea at all what that job entailed, but I showed up most times. But I would have a bag of wine or something. So I guess secretive, no one knew that I was going to the bathroom a bunch of times while I was at work to drink, but I was also around other people, and I'm sure that they knew.
Yeah.
I would also go out to bars. I was a bartender for a really long time, so drinking on the job or getting free drinks when I wasn't working. And then I also did love to sit at home and be suicidal and drink by myself and all of that too. So all of it.
Seems no matter what you do, people usually end up mainly alone, or at least feeling alone, When I remember I was out in the shed, I would just stay out in the shed when I was using, And like one of the worst drug addicts I've ever met came out to me and was like basically like talking shit to me, like, is this it? Like, is this all you're gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I was just like, fuck. It hit hard. But what was your rock bottom? What happened that?
Well.
Or bottoms or.
Yeah, no. So I knew like towards the end of my drinking, I was with a guy that I had been with for a few years. His name was Charlie. And he was also an alcoholic, textbook alcoholic relationship, super abusive physically and emotionally and financially and like mutually, very much mutually. And towards the end of my drinking, like I was the worst alcoholic, so like he would try to detox me and I would just say like, I really need rehab. I think I'm one of those crazy alcoholics that need rehab. And he was just like, you don't need rehab, like you just need to sweat it out. And I genuinely thought like, so I had detoxed at home a couple times and it was terrible. But at the end of it, I thought I'm detoxed. Like there's no more alcohol in me, so I can just go have a beer.
Yeah.
I had like no knowledge of recovery or anything like that.
Bibbles! Get down!
That's so
Get out of there! Get down! That was Bibbles.
Oh my gosh. What? I don't remember what I was
I thought
saying.
you were detoxed, you drank again.
Yeah, so I would drink again, and like that was that was the extent of my effort at like getting sober, was sitting in my bed for a week with like zero intention of like
Do you have
swearing
any
off
seizures
alcohol
or
for good.
anything?
No, I
That's
never.
lucky.
I had like auditory hallucinations, which were really trippy, and I had a lot of vertigo. Like I felt like this past week having vertigo scared me a little bit because it felt like that detox of like you can't stand up, the whole world's spinning, and like and yeah, so I went through that a couple times, and then anyway, it didn't work. And November 2016, my boyfriend at the time, just like the morning started, he was like, you know, if you could just make it home, which was around 5 p.m. If you could just make it home and not drink, like you can drink as much as you want when you get home, but like, could you just come home sober? Because he was so over my shit. And I was like, for sure, I can do that. And immediately went upstairs, put my wine in my bag. Like there was no intentions of not drinking that day at work. And I did what I always did. And he came home and we, you know, got into an altercation, like verbal fighting. One of the things I used to do when I was drunk was I would hide, or I was like, just like to like make it seem like, oh my gosh, where did she go? Or like, what happened to her? I was very suicidal when I was drinking. So I would hide.
Where?
This particular time, we had like when you walked into our house, you could either walk down the hallway or you could walk into the dining and kitchen area. And then there was like a pantry. So I literally like went out and closed the front door to make it sound like I was walking out the front door, but I went into this little pantry. I was just like hiding. Yeah, I was just sitting there hiding. We had a dog, and I was drunk at this point, so I couldn't tell you how long I was in there. I would guess about 10 to 15 minutes. And eventually I heard like the dog's like leash and stuff ruffling, and I'm like, he's gonna take the freaking dog and he's gonna leave. So I come out of the pantry, and again, like time-wise, I don't know how long it was that I heard that sound and then actually got out. But when I came out to our living room, he was hanging in our living room.
Oh my god.
And like, yeah, so I immediately tried to like get him down, and that didn't work. And ended up calling 911. He never regained consciousness, but it was like 3 more days and then he passed away officially.
You like went to a coma?
Yeah. So the cops came, they took him, my house, it was just, my house was covered in holes just from like the fights and the drinking and all of that. So he never regained consciousness. They took him, and like, I don't know, I honestly don't know. I just remember asking the police officer, like, is he gonna be okay? Like, and he was like, well, they wouldn't have taken him out. they wouldn't have him like hooked up to everything if they didn't think there was a chance. So I was like, all right, and I was kind of living on that for a while. But all of his family lived out of state, and we weren't married or anything, so I couldn't actually even go to the hospital, and I was drunk, still drunk. And so I couldn't even go to the ICU to see him until his family got there. And anyway, that wasn't when I stopped drinking. That was like the initiating event. His younger sister, who was my best friend my entire life, she had gone to rehab about 4 months before all of this, and we were like, that was the girl that I drank with. She was like, it was normal, the amount that she normalized my drinking for me. And so when she got sober, she moved out to California and went to like the Betty Ford, whatever, I don't know, it's like some rehab, big rehab out there, but I was just like, lame.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid. And then when her brother passed away, she came back home, and I just was curious. I was like, so what is being sober like? Like, I was just flabbergasted that this girl her brother just died, and and her entire family was drinking, myself included, and like she just was not. And I was like, this is not the girl that I grew up with. This is not the girl that I've been partying with. So I got curious, and my mom, who lived in Utah, who didn't know really the extent of my alcoholism or my addiction or anything, she just got a call and said, Charlie's dead, I need help. And she got on a plane, and she came out to Pennsylvania to help me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, she saved my life 100%. And she then, comes to my house. She sees the state of everything. She sees me, and she's like, I think, you need to go to rehab. And at that point, I was like, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can come up with any other better ideas first, and then I'll get back to you on the rehab thing. I don't know if I want to give up all of this,
Yeah.
like...
Isn't it crazy how we hold on to our misery?
Yeah.
Like, we hold on to it for dear life.
And there was nothing. It was gone. But anyway, between having that conversation with Mary, my mom just being persistent and just a really great mom, got me to come to St. George, and I went to rehab. I thought when I got to rehab, I was like, I gotta make it 30 days. Like they say, it's about 30 days. If I can convince these people that I'm not, like I don't belong here, I'll be good, and then I don't have to, like I wasn't gonna stay in St. George. I'm trying to get at, like I had zero desire to be sober when I was sober, when I got sober. What treatment center?
Yeah.
I went to Steps.
Right on.
Yeah.
Julie was there?
It
No?
was Aaron Ward.
Oh, that was back when it was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I feel like 9 years. I mean, like there's people with like decades of sobriety and stuff, but I do notice like some like age, and because I'm like, oh, back in my day, like you guys had no idea what treatment was like, and I was like, yeah. So, and that was an experience in and of itself. Like after, like the biggest trauma of my life so far for sure, and then got sober, and then I don't know. I feel like Aaron Ward's pretty well known, and he's not well known for like his bedside manner. But all of that to say, like I have opinions and stuff about that now, but I haven't had a drink since. So something, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if it was one particular thing. I don't know if like the way like that treatment center necessarily, well it didn't, because I struggled with my eating disorder for years beyond that, but I just feel like I've just like picked up little pieces along the way, and it's taken me a long time to start to make anything of it or make sense of any of it, but yeah.
What's been your favorite pathways since you've been sober? Like AA, church.
I was
meditate, anything.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. Like I feel like like when I don't know anything about A Course in Miracles, but like the fact that like I don't know anything about it and there's so much like truth and like all of that to be like, I'm just more interested in like that, the commonalities and the truth like in all of the different things that you could do. 12-step AA specifically for me, like the first 6 years of my sobriety, that was my jam. I was on the committees, I was, you know, service position, home group, fellowshipping, the whole nine, and that it's so weird because like it's ever evolving and changing, and the people die and new people come in, and so that's, I haven't been involved in AA for about the last 2 years, but like I don't think, I mean, it carried me for a really long time.
That's how I feel with NA. I did it for like the first 3 or 4 years, 4 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it saved my life. It did, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing, I would pick the speakers at the Friday night meeting. I love doing that. Like helped at SWACNet, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't been to it in a long time. I've gotten to other things, but I for sure am always grateful for NA. And like I said, I was going to go speak tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm always down to do that. I was worried I'm gonna say sober because that's what I say now.
Mm-hmm.
I say sober instead of clean, and they get upset about it a little bit.
I just say in recovery. Mine's like, anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I can relate to that. The cool thing, right when you're reading the Course in Miracles, that like right at the very start, it's like there are many paths to truth, and this is just one of them. You know, and I love that because some things are very like, this is it. This is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like things that are like, this is the only way, that might be, I don't like it that much.
For sure. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. But even the ones that are like, this is the only way, I'm like still curious.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I just read a New Testament. I'm curious. I've been just curious about Jesus lately. You know, my obsession. I have a bunch of Jesus.
I feel like a lot of people are curious about Jesus
yeah,
lately.
well, dude, he's like the
Me
most.
too.
He's like the most. Everybody knows Jesus. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks one way or the other. And I was just like, I'd at least like to know and read it and like know what the dude was talking. And I love like whatever that dude was about. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus was the man.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you want to go like this way with this conversation, but like I personally like I think it's all a metaphor. Which I feel like.
Can I recommend a book for you?
Yeah.
It is called Resurrect. You know who Adi Shanti is? He's like a spiritual teacher, but he wrote a book called Resurrecting Jesus, and that's what got me like. It is it's the best book I've ever read.
Yeah.
I love it. You would love it. He's talking about a metaphor. Basically, the whole thing's a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Is what he's saying, and he relates all of us to all the apostles, to the dude that judges him and says he's to be killed, and to Jesus, and to like Mary, and like it's so good. You would love it.
To check that
yeah.
out.
I'll buy it for you.
Okay. Well, so but like I feel like it is all a metaphor, but Jesus was a real person too, which is I don't know. I'm very at the beginning of this Jesus discovery. Yeah. But mostly that's how I feel about it, is like they're metaphors and like there's principles and the stories and
lessons and like
yeah. And that's the stuff that like I can find commonalities in like across how like all of the religions or whatever the pieces of truth or like the consistencies, like that's what sticks out to me. And like
that's cool, you're open minded like that. That's the whole goal, dude, is to be like open to whatever, and see what works and like see what doesn't.
Yeah.
Like you gotta try something to know it doesn't work for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say I wish I could be like someone that was so like
convinced.
Yeah. With like but like.
Then I'm like, are they really?
Yeah.
Like when they go to bed at night, don't they have a worry sometimes that like maybe. Yeah. They might be wrong.
Well, and like what a lame game that is like you already know the purpose and like no one knows. We wouldn't be here if we weren't all just trying to figure it out. And I mean, but if it works for you, don't want to take that away, but
I was just reading no, everybody's allowed their opinions. Like
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I love what you just said. What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm reading a book called A Course in Miracles, kind of trying to help you understand it, because it can be like very esoteric, and like it's like the real book is super hard to. That's why I go to the class, because the dude breaks it down and like makes it applicable. He actually comes to my work on Thursdays and teaches the groups. And all the groups want to go. GOP, PHP, and ILP are all in there. They love it. Like they are. There's maybe like 2 out of 30 people that aren't feeling it. But what was I gonna say? Oh, he was talking about how there's earners and there's like learners, and earners run off ego basically, you know, and they can be victim or victor. They're always trying to be victim or victor. And a learner is never a victim, never a victor, and they're always open to new experiences, and they're trying to get everything they can out of life to learn the lessons that are being presented. Because when we're how do I say this? Have you ever noticed that the same lesson just repeats itself in your life? Like
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's what A Course in Miracles is. It's like just opening the door instead of banging your head on it over and over, and like a different perception. That's the miracle, is seeing the world differently. It's cool. And living in love instead of fear.
That's like fear, just like the idea of fear, that's come up a lot in the last like couple weeks, and just there's no practical use for it. Like I do like, and I feel like
if a bear's chasing you, fear is practical, you know, but like anxiety over a podcast just to talk to someone, you know, like it's like silly. It's like I just had it yesterday when I did it. I was super out of my own, because this is mine, you know, but doing somebody else's, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it goes well, right? You feel.
Yeah, this is.
It's going on.
I just feel like I'm talking to
yeah,
you.
It's
Yeah.
just chill, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I have no idea.
Okay. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. So you did bring that up already, but I know you struggled with eating disorder. So this is a 3-part question. When did that start? How did it progress, and what is it like now?
So my eating disorder started, between the ages of like 10 and 12. I couldn't tell you exactly, but I was young. And it started, in my family, in my immediate family, in my extended family, and not even just that, at like school, I just felt like from a very young age, I was super aware of like, in my family specifically, morality being tied to what size you are. My grandmother was morbidly obese. She was also, now as an adult, I understand, extremely depressed, and just had, I think, mental health issues that like somewhat, just things that I feel like weren't talked about anyway of her generation, but she was very large, and I grew up thinking that my grandmother was bad because she was large. And she wasn't bad at all. She's passed away now, but that was like the way that people talked about her, the way that people made fun of her, and my family was like, okay, so being fat is the worst thing that you could be. And I also, as I got older, then I started doing like cheerleading and dance and those types of sports. There's a lot of eating disorders that come out of it, not because of the sports, but just because, well, it's like they're all female usually. There's a lot of like comparison. There's a lot of like with dance, you know, like your body is a part of the art. So it's fortunately I didn't have any teachers that were like that, but there is a culture that you're just aware of it at a young age. So
you have to look a certain way, basically.
Yeah, well, and it's like, that it makes you good, not even just that, like it's a morality thing. And like I did grow up, like backtracking to like religious stuff, I did grow up Catholic, and so I really wanted to be good. I wanted to get into heaven, like all of those things. And so I just like had a lot of like misinterpretations of what that meant. And so when I was in preteen, at some point, I remember my mom came in and she was just scared. I know she was just scared because I started showing behaviors of what someone might assume was an eating disorder. My parents were like a eat all the food on your plate kind of family, and I would sometimes couldn't eat all the food on my plate, and my dad was an alcoholic, and so he's very temperamental, and both my parents just did not like waste. So anyway, I started coming up with creative ways to hide the food so that I wouldn't upset them, but not like physically make myself ill because I couldn't eat everything. And then my parents like would find the food in like different hiding spots, and so they thought I had an eating disorder, which maybe I did. Maybe that is like, anyway.
Bibble's going on. Right? Bibble, will you grab her? It's all right.
But anyway, so my mom was just really afraid, and I don't think she really knew how to handle it. So she came and she like gave me a bunch of newspaper articles. At least one I remember that was like about a girl with bulimia, and that she had passed away. And then she had like one of these American Girl books, and there was like 2 pages in there. One was on anorexia, one was on bulimia, and it was just like, as you get older, you might hear about these. It was like a puberty book. And as you get older, you might hear about these things. And I read the thing about bulimia, and I was like, oh, jackpot. Like, now I don't have to hide my food.
Yeah.
And also, too, like, I would, as I got older, I started using food as a coping tool too. So it was just like this habitual, like I almost felt like in the beginning, I felt like this is the best secret ever. You can just eat whatever you want, and then there's no repercussions, which is like the furthest thing from the truth. But so my parents like found as I got older, this like, it never subsided, it only ever progressed. So the bulimic behaviors is what it started out with and really was exclusively until I started using Adderall, Coke, stimulants, and then it went.
Don't need food.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I was like, wow, this is the best thing ever. Now I don't even have to eat.
I gained a bunch of weight, and I always ask you, I'm like, can I just do math for 2 weeks? She's like, no.
Dude, I mean, yeah, but the thing.
Super effective, dude. It is.
It is, but I will never ever forget. So, and for me too, I don't know. I always like with eating disorders, I'm always afraid I'm gonna say the wrong thing, and I feel like that's been my experience with anybody who's like had.
What do you mean say the wrong thing?
Say the wrong thing, like say something that would be like offensive or like might trigger somebody else or just be insensitive in a way that I didn't consider. But
I think if you just say your truth, then you're good.
Yeah. So and I think that like from my perspective, like bulimia in like the span, there's so many different kinds of eating disorders, and bulimia, like I've always like just felt so shameful about it, like so shameful about it. For whatever reason, I did genuinely view like starving myself and using drugs as like a improvement.
Yeah.
It's like look at you, take care of yourself. But I will never forget being at the lowest weight that I had ever been. I was on like Adderall for I don't even know how long, and I was looking in the mirror in like some skimpy outfit, and I was at like the weight that I thought I wanted to be at, like that would make all my problems better. And I just remember bawling in the mirror, just being like, you stupid idiot, like this has changed nothing. Like it changed nothing about how I felt about myself. It was, I don't know, it was, I remember too thinking like, don't ever forget this. Like, don't ever forget that you were not happy at this size. And
it's never enough.
No, and
no matter where you get, because I have the same problems. Like I did keto for like 9 months, and I got down to 164, and I looked back at pictures, and I thought I looked great. And I looked like I was on drugs, like worse than when I was on drugs.
And you probably like you're thinking about food the entire time. Like for me at least, whenever I've like gone into a diet.
Sorry, I would
no,
chew.
You're good.
I gotta say this. I would chew bread. I didn't know you absorb it anyways, but I wanted bread so bad because I was doing keto, no bread, carbs. I would chew it and spit it out, and Jen would call me a breadophile. I had to get that in there. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
That was one of the best like lines I ever heard. I was like, God damn, that was good. A breadophile.
Yeah, dude. You would think that carbs like are in a gang, like beating people up behind like alleyways and stuff with like how. Yeah, and it's like I feel like too, like the older I've gotten, like the messaging, like at first it felt like just like and I don't mean to say like my family, like they just, it's not my family. It's like a cultural, it's a social thing
It's every
that we all buy
commercial,
into.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, so, and as I've gotten older, you know what I mean, like being on your phone and you go to school or you go to work or you just meet other people who are kind of like also, who have kind of echoed those thoughts of like, you got to be on a diet or you have to be thin or don't eat carbs and keto's the way and intermittent fasting and like it's just there's a million different ways that it gets like marketed to you, I guess. But I don't know where I was going with that thought. But breadophile.
I'm sorry.
No, no, that just I'm like, yeah, dude, I even like when I was bulimic and stuff like that, I would eat pretty much whatever. But like the core like belief that like bread is bad, carbs are bad.
Yeah. Every time I eat bread,
Mm-hmm.
I think negatively about it.
Yeah, because
Right.
and it's all like been like we're
It's
conditioned
like
that way.
I shame myself almost over like every time I eat bread or whatever.
That's like why. By the way, side note, which is like way down the line, but like bagels, Brynn's bagels, that is like a huge. It's my dietitian. What we would do.
That's cool. Now that I think about that, that's super cool.
I could tell
And
you
they're
the story
fire.
about how
Brynn's
I learned.
bagels are fire, and you should all buy some. She makes the best bagels I've ever eaten in my life.
I can tell you the story about how I learned to make bagels, which is it was after a binge. We used to get these really. I can't believe that I like it. Just trips me out that I can even talk about this now because these are like this was like the biggest secret in the world, you know, a couple of years ago. But my parents and I are from the Northeast, so when we would go back, we would stock up on bagels, like good New York bagels. They're from Pennsylvania, but there's nothing like them here. And so they would be in my family's freezer, and I was dog sitting one time, and I ate the rest of the bagels, and it was like unexplainable how many bagels I ate. And so I was like, shit, I have to replace these because that was like such a big part of my bulimia was like replacing and hiding and like all of that. And that's how I learned how to make bagels was because I was instead of having a conversation with my family saying, hey, I need help, I was like, I will figure out how to make those bagels.
Did they
back.
catch you?
No.
They didn't know?
No.
First time?
First time.
Well done.
I think I had to make a few batches. I think like the first, I might have like ruined a batch or two, but the ones that they got to, they were out of town by the time they got home. They didn't know. I don't know if they know that story, to be honest, but that's how I learned.
I'm tagging them in this.
Okay. But that's how I learned.
That's impressive. Good job.
And then like I started working with the dietitian when I started seeking help for that finally. And to get over that, like bread is bad, carbs are bad, like all of these rules that like if I said, what are your food rules, you'd probably be like, I don't know, like maybe this many calories or maybe like there'd probably be some things that maybe come to your mind, but then like there's so many food rules that we just don't even realize that we're abiding by, and like to try to rewire my brain to not view carbs that way, you basically just eat, you neutralize the food. So if I think bread is bad, then I'm making a lot of sandwiches this week, and I'm gonna make bagels, and I'm gonna make whatever, and like a safe way. Like it wasn't just like balls to the wall, like just eat bread until you're not afraid of it anymore. It was very like intentional and like supported and all of that. But
I feel like I need to do that.
Yeah.
Like for real.
I mean, it worked for me.
As you were talking, I was like, literally, I should start throwing out my food.
Oh.
That's what popped in my head, dude.
I thought you were talking about neutralizing your food.
No, I was like, I should throw out my food. That's a good way. Because I had I'm bipolar, and I have to take 2 different medications that have made me I've gained like 70 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so I've really struggled with like, I go on these like 3-week diets where I kill it, and I'm like obsessed. Then I mess up once and I fall apart.
Yeah.
I'm right back to it. I'm like running for an hour and a half every day, trying to and I can't get rid of it, dude. And they also make me super hungry at night. And so I'm eating, if you have bagels here, I eat them all, dude. I smash them all in the middle. I eat like any candy yogurt, shit like that, applesauce, whatever it is. I will eat all of it in the middle of the night. So it's been a battle. So here needs to talk about that.
I'm like
This
smiling,
is-
but I'm
like-
not smiling because it's
No,
such a painful experience.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
you're
know
like
exactly
teaching me stuff right
but
now.
I relate to that so much. And like with my, like, you're fighting your, like, me in the depths of my eating disorder, and even like on a diet, even on just like on a diet, like no big deal. Like I don't have an eating disorder today. I'm talking about myself. Like some people can do diets, some people can do all of that. It works for them. But there was something, I really subscribe to intuitive eating, which is like anti-diet mentality. And it says something like, when the rules of the mind conflict with the direct experience of the body, further confusion ensues. I remember that. I've read it a lot. And that is like what you were just talking about. Like, so I had so many experiences where I was like, again, I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm exercising. I'm eating right. I'm doing all the good things that I'm supposed to be good and do. And then if I can't maintain that goodness, then it's actually because I'm just bad. Just bad and I'm terrible, and I might as well just like indulge in my badness because I'll never be
Dude,
good.
you're talking, I'm listening to myself.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying, I'm like, that's everything I think.
Yeah. It's not a unique experience, like, which was good news for me. It's and like it, and I've tried it out, like, so even like with my recovery, you were talking about like if you find something, a workout plan or a diet or something that works for you, like you can do it for a period of time, and then like at some point the wheels come off. Like that was what it felt like in the beginning of my, like, I would go a week or 3 weeks or a couple months without binging or purging, and then something would happen and I would forget everything that I learned.
Yeah.
And I was like back to square one, or I felt like I was. But I noticed too, like there was so much in the early efforts of me trying to recover that it was still about being good, and it was still about image, and it was still about, well, what size can I get away with being without people, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to gain weight. I didn't want my body to change. And anyway, it was still just so tied up in like, not even like, not how I looked, not like I want to be like oogled at, but like how I perceived, and like, am I a good person? Like
Like it's related to your self-worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know how else to say, like my experience has just been that I had really awesome support, people that I swore, 3 people that I swore I would tell the truth to, no matter how ugly it was and no matter how disappointed in myself I was, that every time like I would like have like a lapse in like behaviors or whatever, I would be like, okay, I did it again. And instead of like
You're like food sponsors?
So there's a 12-step group for eating disorders. It's
That's cool.
generalized, so it's not specific to anorexia or bulimia or binge eating disorder or
Is that here?
ARFID. What's that?
It's here?
Yeah, so we have one in-person meeting a week on Monday nights, and there's a ton of virtual, like all over the world, but there is one in St. George that meets in person.
Monday at what time?
8 p.m. over at
Cool.
USARA. And so I do have a sponsor in that program, so she was one of the people that I was like, I will tell her the truth. And then the other 2 people I was paying, so I was like, I really gotta tell them the truth, because otherwise why am I paying them? It was my therapist and my dietitian. And so like it genuinely for me, like I didn't go, there are inpatient treatment programs for eating disorders. I don't know how effective they are. I know that like in the United States, I think with like, if you considered every eating disorder treatment program and the amount of availability they have in their program, I think that there's like 6,000 spots if all vacancies were open, and there's like millions of people with an eating disorder. But I don't even know if like inpatient treatment would be effective. But anyway, what has worked for me like simply is just like failing, like, you know, like going, like running full speed and thinking like, I'm good, this is how I'm supposed to be, and then like falling flat on my face and being like, okay, what did I do wrong? And that like, and none of these answers have come from any of these people. These 3 women like would always just like, always put it back to me and say, like, you know, like, you already know, like, how are you feeling, and like, what could you have done to like not be in that situation, and what could you have done instead? Like, all of these answers were coming from me, and they also, like, I feel like one of the biggest gifts the three of them gave me was like reminding me that it was coming from me. Like, I could not have recovered without like so many people beyond just those three, but especially so that when I stopped working with my dietitian and I don't see my therapist as much anymore, like, I still have all of those things, you know what I mean? Like, I know that those things came from me and that I can make good decisions for myself, and but that only came from me like falling, saying, I can't do this, I don't know what I'm doing, and then being like, no, you do know, and just like them insisting that I know, and like, and that doesn't mean that I failed a lot throughout that process, but like unshakably now I'm like, I know that there is nothing, no emotion that's gonna kill me, and no emotion that's gonna like that requires me to like take it out on myself in whatever form, whether it be drinking or starving myself or puking or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, like I was thinking about the podcast, like, you know, because I knew we were going to talk about eating disorders, and I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't know if treatment works. I didn't go to treatment. I went to treatment for, you know what I mean, which I think definitely played a part in my recovery, but it wasn't eating disorder treatment. And
you had people that held you accountable. You had people that you could talk to and that you were honest with.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, those three women were like, I just feel like they held my hand mostly like for the first year and a half.
How long has it been since?
So it's been a full year since I've had any sort of bulimic behaviors. When I was in residential treatment, I ended up getting kicked out of residential treatment after 30 days, the steps down here, because of my bulimia, because they were like, we don't have the staff, like we don't have the team to support this particular. So they sent me up to Annie's house for 2 more months. And I remember there was a girl that came in and she was sharing her story, and she was in recovery from an eating disorder, and someone asked her, you know, well, I think I asked her, you know, how long have you been in recovery? And she was like, I can't answer that question. It's not a time thing, because like there's a day, like today is a perfect example. I woke up this morning, I'm about to leave town for the next week. I'm doing a work conference, and then I'm doing like some more like fun personal stuff, and then I also had to I just had like 15 million different things. I had to go run here to pick up cleaning stuff, to run up to this friend, and I think I've snacked a little bit, but I've had 1 meal today, and I'm aware of that, and I'll like, you know, eat something later, but like there's just gonna be days where I don't eat as much, and there's gonna be days that I eat more, and I haven't necessarily like drawn like a hard fine line of like what's like, it's hard to define like a relapse if I'm like, well, it was my friend's birthday and I had another piece of cake, or I had a really busy day today, so I didn't have 3 square meals, like so it is a very personal thing, and I think too, like I have to know that, like I can call my dietitian and be like, hey, this is what I've noticed in myself, or my therapist, like I've noticed I've started doing this, but like ultimately it really is like a self-diagnosed, and like where am I at, and so anyway, it's been a year since I puked. Cool. That's cool. This is like the easiest way I can say, and I still struggle with my body image, and I struggle with like, you know, knowing like was that too much, was that not enough, like but that's just being a human. That's just very normal. So, but yeah, so it's been about a year, and but with that, I think like more important than that, I have been trying to recover from this for like the last 20 years. So, it's only been, it was like 2.5, it's been like 2.5 years that I started going to EDA, the 12-step program, and seeing a dietitian.
How long?
2.5 years. Yeah, since I found out, I had a conversation with a friend who called me out, like I was in 12-step program in AA, and like felt like such a fraud, because like I was sober, but I was still puking every single day, and like I just felt like a fraud or whatever, and I just thought that, so I really didn't think that 12 steps were gonna work for this.
Yeah.
And then just one day I had a conversation with a friend, and I was talking about my eating. It was just something that I would avoid the conversation if it ever got brought up or whatever. I would just try to avoid it. And I was talking to them, and he said, you talk about your eating disorder like it's a thing in the past, like you still have your eating disorder. And he was just very blunt like that. And anyway, him saying that, he was just like, just so you know, like, I don't care if you recover or not. Like, he wasn't saying it like indifferent, but just like your value doesn't change whether or not you decide to recover. And that, like, for whatever reason, felt like permission then to like actually try to start doing something different.
He said that well. He said that well.
Yeah.
What he said to you, that was well said.
Yeah. It changed everything.
It's
And
nice
I'm
when
so
you hear
grateful
something
for
like
that.
that. When something lands, like something just lands with you, and you're like, oh fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Like my cousin just said, just show up. Like somebody said, just show up, and so for some reason, that like landed with me, and no matter what. And one time Jordan, I was struggling, dude, because I wasn't on meds or anything. I'd go through these depressions. I kept losing jobs. My first year of recovery, and he's like, bro, you're clean today. That's the win, you know. And I was like, fuck. He's right, dude, because this is normally shit that I would do when I just give up, you know. But he's like, doesn't matter what it looks like every day. Sometimes it's not gonna look pretty, but you're still clean, you know. And I was like, that landed with me too. I was like, God, like I needed to hear that at that time.
Yeah. I think it's really easy to like with like you're still clean. Like we get caught up in our day to day. Like I don't know. I'm sure maybe you're feeling a little bit of that. Like gonna be a new dad and like you have all these new problems. You have all these new problems, and we forget like, dude.
Yeah, dude. I was certain I was going through life without children.
Yeah.
I was certain. I mean, we got sorry, you know, but I didn't think I was gonna have a kid. So I had like my life planned. I was like, my life is chill.
Yeah.
You know, like
Super chill.
never gonna have a kid. Never, you know, and then boom, I was like, oh shit. I had to go out back and like change the kitty litter. For a minute, I did not like. I felt bad. I wasn't like, what the fuck, but I was just like,
It's a
It like scared me.
huge turn of events.
And I had to go outside and regroup for a minute, and like, I was just like, dude, God's plan is God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Did you find a higher power through any of this? Have you found like a higher power that works for you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I feel like it's like ever
Does
evolving.
it have a beard?
A beard?
Is it
I
like
don't
this
even-
guy with the beard?
No. I feel like, well, I'm like cringing because I'm like, I'm about to say something that like if I heard myself say this in the first couple years of sobriety, I'd be like, they're not gonna make it. But I'm like, I feel like the whole like metaphor thing with like Jesus and God and everything, like I'm not gonna be able to articulate this the way that it like makes sense to me in my mind, but like
I don't think you got into words anyways. Like it's hard to do. So this is an impossible.
But like the
to
metaphor,
begin with.
the
So.
metaphor, yeah, exactly. Thank you, thank you. Truly, like I can't explain like how the world works. I don't
It's
know.
like, God, if I could, I'd be rich as fuck, dude.
But like I think about like God as this, that God is me, but like not me, not this version of me, this like who like higher, just good, like that version of me that like is just like who Jesus Christ is. And
So
like
of course, Miracle says we're all capable of anything Jesus Christ did. You know.
I think
It's like
that's
he's
the
our
whole
brother.
goal is to be Christ-like.
Yeah,
that's the
what-
metaphor.
That's
is like
exactly what.
you don't have to look and marvel and be like, that guy was so amazing. Like you could do that.
Yeah.
Like, you can be like that. Like you can be kind, and you can look at people that other people like turn their nose up to, and you can like show mercy and love to those people, and you can, yes, like that is. And I feel like that is like I don't follow like any religion necessarily, but like that is my understanding is that like there's a version of me that is so much all of the things that I want to be, that she's nicer, she's kinder, she's more patient, she's more generous, like all of those things.
Your higher self.
Yeah. And
of course, Miracles it's called Holy Spirit, but it also means higher self. Like, of course, Miracles uses a lot of like Christian language, and which really freaked me out at first. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
But it has Holy Spirit atonement means like at one minute, like you're at one with the atonement means you're at one with everything. Like it has the same verbiage, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It has different meanings. It's super cool, dude.
Yeah.
And the whole goal is to become like Christ.
Yes, that's
Be
so.
Christ-minded.
That's like that is, I don't know, there's not like one singular sentence that wraps up what's my higher power, but like ultimately, yes, it's like be Christ-minded, do unto others as, you know, whatever you want them to do unto you, but there is just like a knowing, and there's like an intuition. I will say, like, no, not surprising probably, as I've recovered from my eating disorder, like that relationship to my higher power is strengthened, but like that relationship to whatever it is inside me has strengthened, and I do feel like it is a sense of like intuitiveness and intuitive eating, which is what I try to practice and I'm still learning.
Dude, she never does this. And she will not stop.
I have like a
so
Snow
I'm trying
White.
to pet her so she won't
I have
do
a
it.
Snow White vibe, so animals just flock to me, and yeah.
Chill, Vince. Chill.
But intuitive eating is just about there's a couple different principles, and some people, if you've heard of intuitive eating, a lot of people think it's just eat what you want to eat, kind of, but eating what you want to eat from a place of like actually what you want to eat, and not like distraction or like comfort or anything like that.
That's
and
cool. I like that.
intuitive eating, it like helps you recognize, like, my dietitian asked me, one of the first questions is, where do you feel hunger first? Like when you get hungry, where do you feel hunger? Where do you feel hunger?
Me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Probably my mind. That's what I feel like. It's like
Everybody's answer is different. That's like the part that like blows my, some people say their mind, some people say their hands. I said my stomach, all of those things, and sometimes my throat though too. And so I just think that's interesting. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's just interesting, right? That we all kind of feel it in different places. And anyway, it's just like, it's this process of becoming attuned with your body and knowing, what does my body feel like when I'm hungry? What does my body feel like when I'm tired or when there's a need? And that sounds like super kindergarten, but it's a lot harder. It's been a lot harder for me, and it's been like a lot of practice. But anyway, in doing that practice, I feel like intuitive eating has translated to like intuitiveness in other areas with
like more mindful in other areas.
Yeah, and like spiritual, like not, and just like a yes or no, like, is this something I want to do or not? Yes or no. Those like gut feelings, like I have so much more trust in them. I feel like so much of my eating disorder was me like betraying myself and denying like what my body is telling me. And so
That's
like,
cool, dude. I like that.
yeah. So like when you go, like when I go to a church, like I don't know if it's like a Christian or Catholic or whatever, but like I know how I feel when I'm there. And I also know how I feel if like the vibe's off and they're judgy and it's like, you know, not truth,
Yeah.
but like with a mask or something like that. Our bodies are always telling us.
They are, for sure.
Everything. Yeah.
I definitely ignore my body.
Mm-hmm.
When it's telling me shit, I'd fucking do the opposite most of the time. But you got me thinking, like, I'm gonna think about that more. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Intuitive Eating is a book, and there's also a workbook that.
I was gonna ask you, is there any books that you recommend to somebody, or like podcasts or anything like that?
I think there's so many. Intuitive Eating, but I feel like that might even be like a little bit down the rabbit hole. If you're just like dipping a toe in, I think Body Neutrality is a great book. It's on Audible, or no, it is on Audible, but it's also on Spotify for free.
Can I tell you something else? That's another thing, Course in Miracles teaches that. It's like if you could see the world as neutral,
Mm-hmm.
or meaning, it says meaningless, but it means neutral,
Mm-hmm.
then the whole world would be far happier.
And with, yeah, dude, and
Like
that is
everything, because we put so much meaning into things that have absolutely no meaning.
and we
anything
create
that-
that meaning.
I've given everything I see. That's one of the lessons. I've given everything I see all the meaning it has for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the lessons. You walk around all day saying that this means absolutely nothing. Everything. You're just walking around all day. It's crazy, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's like, it's the same sentence where you're like, ugh, nothing matters. And you're like, nothing matters. Like, hell yeah. And body neutrality, I mean, that really is, I think the reason that's at the forefront, I think it's a lot more, I think eating disorders, like, I think for a lot of women, just because as I've started sharing about this, like, a lot more people than I would have thought struggle similarly, but also, like, I am in recovery from an eating disorder, meaning that, like, my life was run by my eating disorder. There's a lot of people that might just have, like, disordered eating, which isn't, like, any, like, it's not to say, like, everything's relative, but it's not necessarily the same, like, someone who's just kind of, like, pinching their body fat in the mirror isn't the same thing as someone who, like, has to puke if they have a bite of a brownie or something. But body neutral, I feel like, is across the board, like, my body, it's different from body positivity. I can't stand in a mirror when I don't like what I see and gaslight myself and be like, no, you look so good, because it's not, it doesn't feel true if I don't feel that way. But I can look at myself and say, who gives a shit? It's not the most important, it's not even close to the most important thing about me. And anyway, body neutral kind of goes into, like, what do I think my body says about me? Like, what do I think I'm communicating? And, like, kind of breaks down how it's like an error in thinking. And anyway, I think that one's super helpful with body image stuff, and intuitive eating is super helpful with, like, anti-diet and, like, how do I uncondition myself to all of these rules that contradict each other and aren't helpful and, like, aren't, you know, I still feel crazy, like, so I love those two books. Eating disorder has a big book too, which,
did you know there's actually a diet book, like a Course in Miracles diet book?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I haven't done it. Probably should. Course in Miracles is pretty extreme though, so, like, I started it and I was like, oh, this is way too much. But this is my second last question for you.
Okay.
If you could talk to that younger version of you when this all started, what would you say to her? Bills, I'm gonna light you up, dude. Why is she doing this right now? Just chill, dude. Bibbs, chill. Oh my god.
If I could talk to that version of me, I would say there's nothing wrong with you. I really, like, and that's, like, I mean, I feel very often there's, like, been a lot of inner child work. I did, like, a retreat a couple months ago, and just different pathways of inner child work, and I feel like that was something I needed to hear, is there's nothing wrong with you. That doesn't mean that there wasn't, like, work to be done or, like, things to learn, but I just really, for most of my life, up until, like, a few years ago, just felt like there's something really wrong with me, even in sobriety, even, like, yeah.
Dude, I had that feeling for a long time too, like something was just wrong, like something, like I was doing something wrong, like, all the time.
The way,
I'm like, meds helped a lot, but.
Yeah, they do.
Last question, did you have fun?
I had fun.
You're a great guest, you killed it.
You were right, I have no idea what I said.
Dude, you did amazing, and I'm super grateful you came on.
Okay.
And I hope anybody that's struggling with, like, I learned stuff, and I'm definitely grateful for what I heard from you.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody's struggling with that, I hope they hear it.
Yeah, I really, if anybody is struggling, again, like, I don't know what the answer is. There is no one thing. When I started recovering, my sponsor said, this is gonna be slow, this is gonna be painful, but she said it's gonna stick. And like I said, if I can just be someone for anybody else that's struggling, just to say, like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's so many other people that struggle, and there's recovery. Like, there is, like, I'm fully recovered from my eating disorder today, and I just wish that I wish that I had heard more stories about that when I was still in the depths of it. And thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like, right now, do it right now.
Right now.
Yeah, I'm super grateful that we had Brynn on. Thanks for watching. Stay lit, dude. That's it.